Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today's May 16th, 2021. This is episode 303. Chasing the Dragon is what we're looking at today. This is issue 3, coming in at a whopping $3.99. This is a heavy metal production, part of their Magma Comics. And on the cover here, we see our friendly dwarf that came into play in the last issue, at the end of the last issue, when all hell was breaking loose. Okay, let's take a look to see who worked on this. This is a recommend, by the way, but it is a little bit strange, or a lot strange, however you want to look at it. It's actually quirky as well. The story's by Denton J. Tipton. The art is by Menton 3. Lettering and design is Gilberto Lascano. And the cover art is by Menton 3 as well. Like I said, this was the dwarf that came to the aid of our two fugitives at the end of the last issue. And not much to say about him. I can't remember what his name is, if he did even was given a name. But if you recall, we've got two fugitives, and they look very close, very similar in their white robes and everything, with the long white hair and kind of almost like sunburned bodies. Now, what plays big in this story is something called dragon blood, and the queen, by drinking it, can turn into a dragon, and some people that use this dragon blood have become addicted to it, and that's one of our fugitives named Jin. Is actually, she's kind of like, I don't know how to say, they call her a concubine to one of the other women attendants, but she's also an aide to the Dragon Queen, and she is highly addicted to this dragon's blood. Her accomplice that's fleeing with her is Andre, and he's a alchemist apprentice, but he has learned very well. And he can actually make the dragon's blood if he has the right ingredients. So what we have here, the two have taken off. They got in a boat, and they're on a lake of vitriol oil. And they are attacked by a giant bird as they're crossing. Now we've got this elf detective chasing after them. He's been hired by the Dragon Queen to hunt them down and bring them back. And this elf's a little bit off. He's got this toad that rests on his shoulder. He calls him Calder, and he talks to him all the time. Now he's watching the action across the lake as they fall into this vitriol oil lake, or at least Jin does. And he decides he's not going to cross the lake. It's too dangerous. He's going to go around through the forest and try to catch them at a later junction. As Andre has pulled Jin out of the lake, the dwarf came running up, says, "Move aside." And she's been badly burned by the oil and the hellfire that went on there. And this dwarf knows what to do, apparently, because other dwarfs have fallen in the lake before, and he sprinkles some kind of sugary compound on her that meshes with the oils in her skin, and actually puts kind of a sugar coating or candy coating on her. This helps her heal. It stops the burning. And they thought her dead, but she has actually started to heal. The dwarf picks her up, claims her for his own. He's going to be his own bride, and carries her off as Andre stands by and watches. It's just kind of this odd thing. The art in it, though, is very, very fascinating. Look at this, just incredible. The dance between light and shadow throughout this is very impressive. The storyline, it doesn't seem to be super linear, but it is interesting enough that I will continue to read this. So back at the castle, the queen's talking to her number one associate here, and they talk about something almost sexual. I don't know if anything will come of it, but meanwhile, back at the dwarves' house, Jen is rusting up and she's having these weird visions and illusions. And as she wakens, it's all in darkness for her. For though she has come back to life, she's blind now and can't see. And at the same time, she's got this strong addiction to the dragon's blood and needs a hit immediately. You can see she's getting very agitated. So the dwarf says, I know where to get some. And she says, if you get some, then I'll happily be your wife. So he takes Andre off. They climb up this very steep hill. They're trying to get to the dwarf's uncle's house in this village here. And you can see it's pretty cool the way he does this dwarf village kind of in the dark there. And the reason the dwarf wants to marry this woman, for some reason, he says it'll bring respect to his name and to his community. So they approach his uncle asking for the dragon's blood, but they have no money to pay for it. At that point, the elf catches up to the two here. And the dwarf pushes Andre off the cliff while getting shot by Calder, the elf. I know this is all kind of crazy. And we get this kind of almost like a map of Andre's fall to the bottom. And then the elf notes that Andre is still alive at this point. So Jen, meanwhile, is back at the dwarf's house. She's searching for dragon's blood. She's going through every room, every molecule, as she says, looking for it. She, of course, can't find anything. There's nothing such like that. Andre shows back up. He says, I can make you the dragon's blood. I've got some of the ingredients. We just need to get a few more. And it appears that they go off into some kind of mine. It looks like they're on a mine cart. It's to be continued. So just a really strange, something that you kind of expect from heavy metal, I guess. Just to really have to think about it. You have to do your homework. I know the first couple of issues, I was having a lot of trouble keeping the characters straight, but a number of them got knocked off, so that made it a little bit easier. So now we're pretty much just down to Jin, Andre, Calder and his toad, and then the Dragon Queen and her associate. Everybody else has been killed off. So here's what our next cover looks like as Jin and Andre continue their quest for more dragon's blood, and it appears something is following them in this cover. Okay, then we get a little smattering about the artist and writer on the story, and then we get a gallery of the variant covers, and you can see the dwarf here. This was the regular cover, and also this one, which is pretty cool. You get the tail of the dragon surrounding Andre. As you can see, this did not happen in the book, but just a cool cover nonetheless. And here's some offerings from Heavy Metal. They're really beefing up their selection here. I think in part because Marvel and DC have kind of weakened their storylines so much that there's a lot of room for others to jump in. We see Awa Upshot really coming out with strong offerings, as well as Images. Seems like they're turning up the different types of stories a notch as well. So we got a lot more to look at now these days, rather than just waiting for something good from DC and Marvel. Okay, Amber Blake is the name of this one. It's available in July, and I'm assuming that is a #1 floppy, not a trade. Beyond Kuiper, the Galactic Star Alliance. I'm not sure what this is. If this looks like another one that's... Boy, it looks like almost a movie or something. I'm not quite sure what that is. But you have something to look forward to on that. Heavy Metal's also offering a new kind of zombies has risen. This is Cold Dead War in stores now. So I have not seen this in the store, but I'll at least do a flip through if I do. Darkwing, I'm pretty sure this has been out, and I'm not sure what issue this is or if it's just a collection of stories. It says 3 here, so I'm not sure if that's the 3rd issue or if that's the 3rd volume. We have Fogler's Fictions. There you go. Just some creepy stuff here. And Jeff Boucher's Mind Space. This is a podcast. And then Tarna, the Last Tarakian. That looks like a trade. But I'm not 100% sure. They're not really telling me. Okay. Then they have Wonder Week. Movie quality, okay. Not quite sure what this is either. Coming to a graphic audio story. So, not sure where that is showing. If it's a movie or what. And then The Modern Frankenstein. This just came out. And I know the number 1 is just out on this. So it looks like they're kind of telling you which ones are actual floppies. Amber Blake, Chasing the Dragon, and The Modern Frankenstein. The rest are probably trades or TV shows or something like that, podcasts. So there you go, Chasing the Dragon, issue 3. It is a recommend. It is bizarre. It is quirky. It might not be for everyone, but it is. I think the art in it is rather unique, and it does get the Indie Comics Jones good excavating seal of approval, given out only by Indie Comics Jones, I might add. Thank you for stopping by and listening to this review. As always, please like, please subscribe, please leave comments, and we'll see you at the next review at the Temple of Tomes. This is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.